Let's get our screen share pulled up here, guys. So, starting things off this week, we did have another Thank You Thursday session where we brought on my boy Trip over at Aero Marine. It's kind of great at this point. He did bring up a very particular part. He was talking about toolpath trimming as one of his favorite things inside of Fusion, so I thought I would kick things off with that. If you guys haven't caught our Thank You series, it's our chance to show you guys customer success stories about why customers have chose yours truly over here at JitCAD Cam, as well as things that are different in the industry and how they've found their success through failure of nonetheless. So let's go ahead and do this. So this was an interesting one. I know he kind of showed it quick. As you guys know, it's not easy to jump on this channel and be able to do stuff, but he was doing something with a 2D contour. As you guys are going to see me do here in a minute, we're going to go ahead and pull up a good old-fashioned half-inch flat end mill. And I'm going to go ahead and pick this lower rail here. And with that, we're actually going to do our tangential extensions like a good person would. And we're going to get a toolpath on this part that's also going to require multiple depths. Now, some of you are probably going to question why I'm going so far above and beyond, and you guys are going to see this here in a minute. The idea is if you're machining down a wall in some way, especially in the 2D toolpaths, you're going to find yourself wasting time cutting air, depending on how you're machining something. And this was something that I absolutely loved that he pointed out, and I don't know if he knows this, but initially when he did his trim toolpath, he went in, and you can always sketch whatever it is that you want at the end of the day. And his reference there was to trim something about like so. And then to say, keep everything outside of that containment area. And again, very easily right now, you could see I could take that 2D contour toolpath and make things night and day difference. Again, lowering that cycle time when you're really trying to chase seconds at the controller. Now, another way you can do this, and I don't know if you guys know this, but if we go back in and do a trim toolpath, is the ability to use a plane. Now, he did point out using a plane for trimming. Again, this is kind of like the ability to pick anything flat on your part. As you're seeing me do here, I can only do one plane as a time, so I can't pick multiples. But depending on what plane I pick, I'm going to go ahead and go with this one over here to the left. You're going to notice, once again, we can trim things to a plane. Now, this works really good if you're working in Z heights, down into like a mold cavity or something. In this case, I'm using it based on the angle here. Now, I do need to flip my direction. Of course, I'm doing just like he did, which is going into the wrong side. We need to go side 2. And as you're going to see, now that we flipped our side over, again, we got another really good trimming strategy. Now, I'm going to undo that one more time, and we're going to talk about something else. But I do see Mr. Oh, man, RC1010 out there from the UK. I appreciate it, man. 4-axis mill in your garage. What, is that a Sile machine I see in your photo? If it is, you got to let me know. What controller do you have on that machine? I would love to know, as I'm a firm believer that the Siles are decent machines. Now, I would like to say at the end of the day that since Haas does have quite a few mini mills, I would probably go with a Haas machine. However, I see a lot of good coming out of those Sile machines. So let's go ahead and look at our toolpath trimming one more time. Again, in this case, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a boundary. Now, Trip did show us that you could sketch a boundary at any time. This is where, just like in the world of utilizing boundaries in your 3D toolpaths, one thing you guys can see here is I could actually do something based on like a face contour. In this case, I can't actually do a face contour, and you're going to see why here in a minute. But if I do a chain, a closed chain, and I want to go ahead and pick the chain that I want to go around my part with. So again, what you guys are going to see is I'm going to close in that loop there. You're going to notice that based on that closed chain, I do still need to give it a new direction. And upon giving it that direction, you're going to notice I get this trapezoidal shape. Again, my goal here is to trim my toolpath kind of following the profile or the edges and boundaries of that surface. So if I actually go back up to the top real quick and do face contour a second time, you're going to notice that face contour only works based on your flattened direction. Now, again, in my opinion, Autodesk, we are very good about a top to bottom workflow here, don't get me wrong, but I feel like direction should be kind of determined before we really pick our boundary. Again, if you guys remember the days where tool orientation used to be at the end of your selections, It makes things a little bit tricky when picking those chains. But as you're seeing me do here, again, let's just go ahead and say we're going to give that a 300 offset, which is going to expand outwards. And as you're going to see, in my opinion, toolpath trimming works really, really good if you get it on the right side of the boundary. But utilizing something like a face contour here works extremely good at the end of the day to be able to say, I want inside or I want outside. And again, how fast you can trim around that part based on something simple like that. Now, this next little pro tip here, I do see RC Tintin out there, delivered in 21, owned it for 5 years, and it's been perfect. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. It is a Sile X7, granite frame, Siemens control. Very nice. Very nice nonetheless. So another pro tip I'm going to throw in here real quick, just because we're in this modify tab right off the rip, is the ability to do leads and linking. I think a lot of people have missed the fact that you can really get wild with your leads and linking nowadays. For example, I could actually go through and say, I want to move all of my linking moves. And what I would like to do is go to a plane, and I can then select said plane. So as you guys are going to see, I'm actually going to flip everything down over here to the right. And what you'll notice is going to happen now is it's going to take all of my linking moves and actually shoot it all the way over here to the right. Again, not very practical in a lot of applications. However, it is something neat to be able to control your linking moves, especially when you talk about undercuts and T-slot cutter type features. This is, again, just a really neat thing, and we're actually getting into double stacking things from trimming to the ability to also do our leads and linking modifications as well. And one more thing that I do like in here is we could always delete a pass as well. As you're seeing, we do have to select the toolpath first, delete pass. I know I have enough flute length to make that final pass down there. Again, let's just get a little bit more cycle time out of this part and remove that final step down. So again, these are all pro tips in the modify section that makes your life a dream. Now, if you don't have the modify section and you're getting that lovely little blue plugin button, just remember, if you're in North America, you could always buy the machining extension through yours truly.